Yes, good morning, my dear students. Good morning. This is another day, and this is your biggest online learning platform. It is Kidev Online Academy. And today, you are with your teacher, Mr. Kidev. And today we are going to discuss about the topics of Form 2, and we shall start with the first topic, which is quadratic equations. So, our first topic here is quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. Yes. So in the previous chapter, we learned about the quadratic expressions. So today, our second chapter is quadratic equations. So far, we know what is quadratic expressions. So today, we are going to solve different problems concerning with the quadratic equations. So in the previous chapter, we learned about quadratic 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 expressions. Quadratic expressions. Now we say that these are all expressions whereby the highest power of the variable is 2. For example, if you have maybe x squared plus 2x plus 4. This is quadratic expression because the highest power of the variable, our variable here is x, so the highest power of the variable is 2. So any expression whereby the highest power of the variable is 2, that expression is called the quadratic expression. Also, if you have maybe y squared minus 2y. Also, this is quadratic expression because the highest power of our variable, which is y, is 2. And when you talk about the variable, it means this is any letter which is used in an expression or equation. So in quadratic, we are observing that do we have the highest power of 2? If you have the highest power of 2 in that expression, it means that expression is called the quadratic expression. Or another example is if you have maybe 2t squared plus 3t minus 8. Also, this is quadratic expression because our variable is t. You see here, our variable is t, and the t is the only letter which have been used in this expression. But also, the main property of this expression is we are observing that the variable must have the highest power of 2. So here, our variable is t, and the highest power is 2. So all of this expression is called the quadratic expression. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 4. This is quadratic expression. We have y squared minus 2y, which is quadratic expression. We have 2t squared plus 3t minus 8. Also, this is quadratic expression, etc. We have so many examples of quadratic expression. So the only point to note is you have to observe in that expression, we have to observe the variable. Is the variable has the highest power of 2? Is the variable has the highest power of 2? Now, if the variable has the highest power of 2, it means that expression is called the quadratic expression. For example, you can observe this expression. If you write maybe x plus 2. Now, in x plus 2, this is variable, but the highest power here is 1. Or if you have maybe 2y plus 80. Also, this is an expression whereby the highest power of y here is 1. But because the highest power of x here is 1, and here the highest power of y is 1, now these two expressions are not quadratic. These are not quadratic expression. They are not quadratic expression because their highest power of the variable is 1. But here, the highest power of the variable is 2, and this is 2, and this is 2. So these are the properties of an expression to be quadratic. So our today's lesson is quadratic equations. So we have to see the difference between quadratic equation and quadratic expression. Yes, we have only two differences. which distinguish between these two terms. Quadratic expression and quadratic equation, these are two different terms. If you talk about quadratic expression, it means are those expressions whereby the highest power of the variable is 2 and they have only one side. But if we speak about quadratic equation, it has two sides. For example, if you write x squared plus 2x plus 4 and x squared plus 2x plus 4 is equal to 0. This is an quadratic expression because it has only one side. But this is quadratic equation because it has two sides. This is the first side before the equal sign, and this is the second side after the equal sign. So we have two sides here. The first side is x squared plus 2x plus 4, and the second side is 0. So we have the left-hand side and right-hand side. So if the expression has two sides, it means now it is changed from the expression to equation. But also in equation, we have an equal sign, whereby in expression there is no equal sign. So we have only two differences of quadratic expression and quadratic equation. The first difference is in quadratic expression, there is no equal sign. But in quadratic equation, there is an equal sign. The second difference is in quadratic expression, there is only one side. This is only one side. But here in quadratic equation, we have two sides. Whereby this is the first side and this is what? The second side. So in equation, we have two sides. Yeah, so those are two differences which distinguish between expression, which is quadratic, and the quadratic equation. Now, our today's lesson is the quadratic equations. So we are talking about the quadratic equations. So the quadratic equations are all equations. These are all equations which are written or expressed in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So all equations which are quadratic must be written in this form. So the only things to observe are two. The first is you must have two sides. This is the first side, which is called the left-hand side, ax squared plus bx plus c. And then we have the right-hand side, which is 0. So we have two sides. But also in equation, as what I said, is we must have an equal sign in between these two sides. So all equations which are expressly in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, these equations are called the quadratic equations. For example, examples of quadratic equations. Examples of quadratic equations. We have so many examples of quadratic equations. The first is, it can be maybe x squared plus 3x plus 4 is equal to 0. This is an example of quadratic equation. But also if you have 3y squared plus 2y minus 8 is equal to 0. Also, this is quadratic equation. But also, if you have maybe t squared minus 3t is equal to 0. Also, this is quadratic equation. But also, if you have maybe, we have 8a squared minus 3a minus 4 is equal to 0. This also is quadratic equation, etc. We have so many examples of quadratic equation. So if you look at these examples, all of these examples, they lie under this condition. It means they have been written in this form. For example, here, if you see x squared plus 3x plus 4 is equal to 0. It means it has been written in this form, whereby here our a is 1, and this is x, plus bx means plus 3x, plus c, and our c here is 4 is equal to 0. So this is quadratic equation. Also, this we have 3y squared. Instead of x here, we have been used y. So it is 3y squared, the same as ax squared, plus bx. So here is plus 2y. So our bx here is 2y, then plus c, our c is negative 8 is equal to 0. So also this is quadratic equation. But also we have t squared minus 3t. Look here. T squared the same as ax squared minus 3t the same as bx plus c. Here there is no c, so it means if you don't have c, it means our c is 0, which is equal to 0. So also this is quadratic equation. And also we have 8a squared the same as ax squared minus 3a the same as plus bx minus 4 the same as c. So our c here is negative 4 is equal to 0, is equal to 0. Yes, so all of these and the other examples whereby the highest power of the variable is 2 and the expression has two sides is called the quadratic equation. So the only thing to note in quadratic expression is you have a quadratic equation is you have to observe the highest power of the variable to be 2 and must be an equal sign which separate the two sides. Must be have an equal sign which separate the right hand side and the left hand side. So all of these are examples of quadratic equation. Now, after looking what is quadratic equation and looking for the examples of different quadratic expressions, now let us see how can we solve. If we speak about solving, here we are talking about how can we find the value of different letters in quadratic equation. For example, here we have x. How can we find x? Here we have y. How can we find the value of y? Here we have t. How can we find the value of t? And here we have a. How can we find and how can we get the value of a? And this is the only lesson of today. It means we are discussing about the quadratic equations. What are these examples and how can we find the value of different letters in those quadratic equations? So this is solving quadratic equations. Solving quadratic equations. Solving means we have to find the value. We have to solve. We have to get the value of something. Now, because in quadratic equations, we are only interested on how can you get the value of maybe letter, a certain letter. It can be x, y, or b, any letter. So how can we get the value of that letter? So solving, it means here, solving means is to find the solution of the equation. We have to get the solution of the equation. And getting the solution means we have to find the value of the letter. Means we have to find the value of a letter in the equation. In the equation means we have to find the value of letter in the equation. Now, in solving, we have variety or different ways or different methods which can be used to find the value of letter. So the methods used to find the solution. The solutions of quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. The methods which are always used to find the solution of quadratic equations. Generally, we are speaking about only 3 methods. So we have only 3 methods which are always used to find the solution of quadratic equations. So here we have, there are 3, or sometimes you can use 4. Yes, no, let's take it 4. So there are 4 methods. There are 4 methods of solving quadratic equations. Yes, we have 4 methods. And these are, we have the first method, which is factorization method. This is solving by factorization method. We have factorization method. So this is the first method of getting the solution of any quadratic equation. But the second method is, instead of factorization, you can use the second method, which is completing the square method. Completing the square method. This is the second method. But the third one is, instead of completing the square method, you can use another method, which is by using general quadratic formula. By using general quadratic formula. So general quadratic formula, this is another method which is used to find the solution of any quadratic equation. But the last one is, instead of using these 3 methods, you can use the fourth method, which is the graphical method. Yes, so we have these 4 main ways. We have these 4 methods which are always used to find the solution of quadratic equation. Yes, so we have to go one after another. How can we solve quadratic equations by using factorization method? How can we solve quadratic equations by using completing the square, or general quadratic formula, or graphical method? Yeah, so generally we have all of these methods which are used to find the solution of any quadratic equations. These are factorization method, completing the square method. We have general quadratic formula, but also we have graphical method. So we have to go one after another. Now, the first method is factorization method. Factorization method. Now, in factorization method, first we have to find the factors. We have to find the 2 factors before getting the solution. So here we have first find the 2 factors of quadratic equation. Find the two factors of quadratic equation. The second step is, after getting the two factors, then we have to use those two factors to find the solution. Now use the two factors. Use the two factors to find the solution. Use the two factors to find the solution. So here, in factorization method, you have only two steps. The first step is to find the factors of quadratic equation, and the second step is to you have to use the factors which you obtain in the first step to find the solution of quadratic equation. Now, how can we solve the quadratic equations by using factorization leading to these two factors? Now, for example, the question is solve the following quadratic equations by using factorization method. Factorization method. A, we have x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. B, our equation is x squared plus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. And C, we have 2x squared minus 4x minus 6 is equal to 0. D, we have 2x squared plus 8x plus 8 is equal to 0. And the last one, E, we have x squared minus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. Yes, so all of these are quadratic equations, and we are going to see how can we find the solution. It means how can we find the value of x in these equations by using the first method, which is factorization. Yes, now let's take the first solution. Our question is x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So we solve this quadratic equation by using factorization method. Now in factorization method, we have two steps. The first step is to find the factors of this equation, and the second step is to use those factors to find the solution. Now in finding the factors, we have to observe this middle term, which is 5x. Now middle term, we have to split this middle term into two numbers. Instead of writing 5x, how can we write 5x in terms of two other numbers? It means we have to think out the two numbers. If you add those numbers, you have to get 5. And if you multiply the same numbers, you have to get 6 times the number here. But here, if you don't see the number, it means it's 1. So 6 times 1 is 6. Yes. So you have to think out which numbers, if you add, you have to get 5. And which numbers, if you times, you have to get 6. Yes, can you try to think out numbers which you add, you get 5. And you multiply the same numbers, you have to get 6. Yes. Maybe 2 and 3. 2 and 3, yes. If you take 2 plus 3, the answer is 5. And if you take 2 times 3, the answer is 6. Yes, so our numbers are 2 and 3. So Maybe A is 2 and B is 3. Then after getting our numbers, we have to split into 2, the middle term, which is 5x. We have to split into 2. So instead of writing 5x, it will be 2x plus 3x. Then we have x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Then we split down this 5x into 2. So it will be x squared plus 2x plus 3x, then plus 6 is equal to 0. So after reaching to this step, you'll see that you have 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have to group into 2. So the first group will have x squared plus 2x. This is the first group. Then plus the second group will have 3x plus 6 is equal to 0. Then after grouping these 4 terms into 2 groups, then here in each group you have to find the common factor. So here the first group has x squared plus 2x. So the common factor here is, we observe the number which is common. Now here it is x. So x is given out. If we give out x, here will remain a single x, plus here if we give out x to remain with 2, then plus here the common factor is, we have 3x plus 6. So the common factor here is 3. If you give out 3, here will remain with x, plus if you give out 3, here it will remain with 2 is equal to 0. Now after reaching to this step, you observe that the numbers inside the bracket will be the same. For example, here it is x plus 2 and here it is x plus 2. So it means we are correct so far. Now our two factors will be, you take the outside numbers to form the first factor. It is x plus 3. This will be the first factor. And the second factor, you take one among of these two because they are the same. So you take one among those two, which is x plus 2, then is equal to 0. So this is the end of the first step, and these are our two factors. So our two factors are x plus 3, and the second one is x plus 2. Now after getting the factors, we have to use these factors to find the solution. We have to use these factors to find the solution. How? Look here, it is x plus 3, and here it is x plus 2. Here it is multiplication. It means if you multiply two numbers and the answer is 0, it means one among of these two numbers must be 0. That is the reality. If you multiply two numbers and the answer is 0, it means either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. So then you say either x plus 3 is equal to 0 or x plus 2 is equal to 0. It means one among of these two factors is equal to 0. So if x plus 3 is equal to 0, now what is x? We have to shift this x to the other side. X plus 3 is equal to 0. So we shift this to the other side. So it will be x is equal to, this is plus, when we go there it will be minus 3. All x plus 2 is equal to 0. We shift this 2 to the other side. Then it will be x is equal to, this is plus, when we go there it will be negative 2. So these are our two answers. So therefore, conclusion, the value of x is equal to negative 3 or x is equal to negative 2. So we have two answers. Yeah, and this is the solution of our quadratic equation, x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So this is the first example. Now let us go to the second example to see how can we solve these quadratic equations by using factorization method. The second example solution, it is x squared plus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. X squared plus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. As what we did in the first example, first we have to split this 4 into 2. So we have to think out two numbers. Yes, the numbers are a and b. If you add, you have to get 4. And if you take the same numbers, a times b, you have to get 3 times the number here, which is 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. Now, which numbers, if you add, you get 4? And if you times the same numbers, you have to get 3. Can you try to think out what are these numbers? Yes. Maybe 1, try 1, 1 and 3. Yes, 1 and 3. If you try 1 plus 3, 1 plus 3, the answer is 4. And 1 times 3, the answer is 3. Yes, so it is 1 and 3. So our numbers are 1 and 3. So A can be 1 and B is equal to 3. Then we come back to our equation from x squared plus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. So we split this 4x into 2. So it will be x squared plus, instead of writing 4x, now it will be 1x plus 3x. Now 1x is x, so it's x plus 3x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now we have 4 terms, we split into 2 groups. The first will be x squared plus 3 up here, the first group, plus the second group starting from 3x plus 3 is equal to 0. After reaching to this step, then we are observing the common factor in each group. So here is x squared plus x. The common factor here is x. So you give out x. If you give out x, here will remain single x plus, this is x, but this x is out. So here it will remain 1 plus, here we have 3x plus 3. So the common factor is 3. What is left here is x plus 3 is out, then to remain with 1 is equal to 0. Now, you see these numbers inside the bracket are the same. It means so far we are correct. Now, the factors are, we take the outside numbers, which are x plus 3, the first, and the second factor is, because these are the same, so you take one among of these two, because they are the same. So it is x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now, after reaching to this step, now, if you multiply these numbers, you have to get 0. It means the formula is, if you multiply two numbers and the answer is 0, it means one among of those two numbers is 0. So here we have two factors. If you multiply them, we have to get 0. So one among of these two factors is 0. So we say either x plus 3 is equal to 0, or x plus 1 is equal to 0. So if x plus 3 is equal to 0, now what is x? We shift this 3 to the other side. So it will be x is equal to, this is plus, when go there it will be negative 3, or x is equal to, this is plus 1, it will go there to be minus, so x is negative 1. So therefore, the value of x is equal to negative 3, or x is equal to negative 1. And this is the solution for example number 2. Now I do this example number B, number 3, then I left these two examples to do yourself. You try yourself to do these two other examples to see how can we solve quadratic equations by using a factorization method. So I finish by doing this, the third example, then there are 2 examples remained. You try yourself to do the rest. So let us go to number 3, which is C. Now number 3 is 2x squared minus 4x minus 6 is equal to 0. 2x squared minus 4x minus 6 is equal to 0. Yes, our steps are the same. So first we have to find the factors. But before finding the factors, we have to find two numbers so as to break down or split this middle term. So you have to think of two numbers. If you add, you have to get the first, which is negative b. Which numbers, if you add, you get negative b. And if you times the same numbers, you have to get negative 12. Yes. Now, which numbers, if you add, you have to get negative 4. And if you times, you have to get negative 12. Can you try to think out what are these numbers? Yeah. So sometimes you can find there is difficulties on finding these two numbers. So you can use this formula. You take this 12. How much if you times the two numbers, you get 12. It is 1 and 12. You get 12. 2 and 6. 2 and 6, you get 12. Maybe 3, yes. 3 and 4. You get 12. After 3, 4. 4 and 3. They repeat. So you have two sets. Now among these numbers, among these two pairs, which one belongs to this combination? Yes, maybe 2 and 6. 2 and 6. But in 2 and 6, if you take 2 plus 6, can you get negative 4? No. It means one among these two numbers must be negative. Which one must be negative? Maybe 6. Yeah. So if you take 2 plus negative 6, yes, you get negative 4. And if you take 2 times negative 6, you get negative 12. Yeah, so this is the correct pair. So our numbers A is 2 and B is negative 6. Then from our equation, 2x squared minus 4x minus 6 is equal to 0. Then we split this negative 4 into 2, and you have the two numbers to split. So 2x squared to be plus 2x, then minus 6x, then minus 6 again is equal to 0. Yes. Now here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we group into 2. The first group will be 2x squared plus 2x. The first group from here to here. Then minus is here. This minus is here. Then bracket will be 6x. Because there is bracket and here minus, so this sign will be plus. Because after opening the bracket here, minus and the plus will be minus. So here it will be plus 6, then is equal to 0. Then we observe the common factor, 2x squared plus 2x. The common factor will be 2 is out, maybe, and the x is out. 2x squared, 2x is out. So here we remain with x plus 2x. 2x is out, so 1 will remain. Then minus 6x plus 6. The common factor is 6. Yep. Here 6x, 6 is out, so x will remain. Plus 6 is out, so 1 will remain. Is equal to 0. Now you see these numbers inside, they are the same. So up to this point we are correct. Then the factors are, we take the outside numbers. The first is 2x minus 6, and the second is x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now after reaching here, 2x minus 6 and x plus 1 is equal to 0. We multiply, you have to get 0. It means one among these two factors is 0. So we say either 2x minus 6 is 0, or x plus 1 is equal to 0. Yes. So 2x, we shift this negative 6 to the other side, but this is minus. When it goes there, it will be positive 6. Then we divide by 2, and here by 2. So x is equal to 6 divided by 2 is 3. Or here x plus 1 is equal to 0. So we shift 1 to the other side where it will become negative. Then you have x is equal to, this will be negative 1. So x is equal to negative 1. So we have two answers. So conclusion, therefore, the value of x we have x is equal to 3 or x is equal to negative 1. Yes, so this is how can we solve different questions, different equations of quadratic by using a factorization method. You have so many examples. Then I left 2 examples for you. You try yourself. If you find any difficulties, check with me through my numbers or direct contact to assist you. But make sure you try to do those 2 questions. Up to this point, let's call it a day, and our lesson will end here. Then we shall meet next time, but don't plan to miss the next lesson. This is Kidev Online Academy. Thank you very much.